Nicholas, congratulations on your appointment. Before we get into the BMF itself, what's your history?
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon. My history, I've been mostly in the corporate environment, mostly in the marketing roles, and in fact the company that I worked for recently was IBM, which obviously we know who IBM is, and it's one of the greatest company in the world. It's also the greatest brand.
So you've got a very good sort of broad-based corporate experience, if you like. And I notice here, I'm just reading from your CV, which is impressive, incidentally. It says, in 2010, you were honoured with the Manager of the Year award at the BMF Achievement Awards, and now you're in the hot seat at the BMF itself. When you get your feet under the table, what are you going to do?
Well, there's quite a number of things that one would like to do. And the first one is just to remind most people is that the BMF is actually a professional organization, and we're there for the development of the managerial leadership. So that's the first basic thing that we need to do, is to really go back and reach out to our members and make sure that our members get the most benefit in terms of the programs that we have. And the second thing is also to provide the wonderful networking, the exchange programs that we have. The other thing that we also do focus on within the BMF is we become the voice for all the professionals, and professionals I do include the entrepreneurs and also people within the private, within the public sector sometimes that we tend to forget. So we become the voice for them and make sure that transformation is certainly happening at the required pace in South Africa.
Exactly what I was going to ask. Over the last 18, 19, 20 years, has the pace been to your satisfaction? I mean, is the glass half empty or half full? Have black managers embraced their opportunities? Have we embraced them? I mean, has the economy embraced them? What is the situation in your opinion? Have you got lots more work to do?
So there's lots of things that has been done, and we know this because our members do tell us. There's, however, a lot of work that still needs to be done. I mean, recently there's been a number of engagements that we've had. In fact, just to share with you, on Friday, we'll be engaging also with the private sector, where we're having a sort of a corporate update dinner, where we're sharing about something which is very important that was announced recently by the state president, who will be attending this sort of banquet. And the topic that's going to be discussed, Lindsay, is going to be the huge infrastructure development. Now, everybody's talking about it, and very few people know how this is going to be implemented, what are the opportunities in terms of creating those wonderful jobs, those entrepreneurs, how they can all sort of fit into this program.
Well, I'll be looking forward to that, because I know the good work that Transnet has put on the table. But as for the rest, I know the President talked at his in Cape Town not so long ago about some very, very ambitious infrastructure plans. And I personally think that infrastructure is the key to the growth of the South African economy. Are we doing enough? Before we get back to the BMF itself, are we doing enough in your opinion?
As I've mentioned, there's a lot that has been done, but certainly we can do a bit more. When you mention about the infrastructure development, there's a lot of things that one could focus on. The skills issue that one always talks about. You must remember at some stage we've talked about that. I think various people have raised this. We don't have enough skills, and then yet we've managed to build the greatest infrastructure, during our 2010. So we do have. Also, we've talked about the joblessness, and yet we've got this wonderful opportunity which could actually create wonderful jobs. And I think also the other challenge for us, Lindsay, is we need to make sure that some of the companies, those young entrepreneurs, they really can get involved in this infrastructural development at a meaningful level and a meaningful way, so that they're not going to be on the peripheral where they do all these sort of, I call them unproductive, unoperational activities. It's interesting you mentioned at the ground level, because I mean, when we focus on things like this massive expenditure from some of the parastatals, that's one thing, but on the other hand, it's small and medium-sized enterprises that have been proved in other emerging markets to create the most jobs. And I suppose at the BMF that might be one of your focuses over your tenure over the next few years. It is hence for that reason that we've actually themed this the corporate update dinner that we're having on Friday along those lines, because we believe any emerging market, if you're not focusing on those small, medium enterprises, the chances are doomed for one to succeed. It's all to do with skills, and it's also all to do with representation when it comes to the Black Management Forum. When you walk into, let's say you walked into a representative boardroom in South Africa, are there enough skilled black managers in there for your liking? There are plenty. That's the challenge. There are plenty, and if there aren't, it's just people are looking too far to realize. So one of the things that we are actually advocating for is, first, companies need to have very good structured programs that are really there for career development for most of these managers. In fact, if they don't, we normally ask some of our corporate members and corporate South Africa, consult with us as a Black Management Forum. We can advise you, we can assist you. We actually continuously send a number of people out to various programs outside the country where they could really learn some of the skills and come back. It's always quite shocking when they don't find anything suitable, and after all of these sort of programs that we spend on them. So the sad news...
From the BMF point of view, it's a sort of a top-down approach that you have. It's all very well you talking about having meetings with presidents and very high-powered stuff and talking about managers that are already established. But I mean, the key challenge here is to take the skills that you've got at the top and take the networking that you've been speaking about and let it filter down to that ground level. I mean, that's quite a challenge.
Lindsay, that's a major challenge. But in fact, one of the programs that you asked me in terms of one of the things that I'm going to be doing within the BMF in my new role is, in fact, mentorship. We have already started with this mentorship program. Now we're going to roll it out to various provinces and make sure some of these people who might have some gaps in the skills at least could benefit from this. There's a number of people who are probably coming up from various institutions, universities and other tertiaries who actually probably could also benefit from such.
Yeah, indeed. Are the mentors, do the mentors have the ability and the time to mentor though? Because as I've said before, the skills are lacking in South Africa in many, many areas. I mean, and the time that they have to mentor is probably quite limited.
It's quite limited, but you know, the question that one has to ask is, if one doesn't do it, if somebody has risen to celestial heights and have benefited from wonderful programs that the country has had, from the wonderful policies, it's certainly time to give back. And most of the senior Black executives in particular, they have really warmed up to this idea and actually are thoroughly enjoying it. Because often, as you realize, when one mentors somebody, you also get some benefits. You enjoy this, you learn quite a lot, and you're also giving back to the country in the most meaningful way.
In a funny way, I suppose, Nicholas, you would look forward to a time in South Africa, hopefully within your and maybe even my lifetime, where there won't be a Black management forum. It will just be a South African management forum where people are not coded and categorized because of the color of their skin. I know that sounds really corny, but that must be our goal for the future of this republic.
It is certainly the goal for the future of the republic. I must share something with you is that, you know, even though we call ourselves, or the organization is called the Black Management Forum, I prefer to use BMF. The reason for that is, remember when we were formed, our focus was primarily on Black managers. But in round about 1989, we changed this a decision that was changed, and that was decided to focus on we're open to all the other races. So I'm pleased to say, should you really feel that there's a role that you can play in this organization as a white male, we certainly will welcome you and we encourage you to join us, even though the benefits will be primarily for the Black managers. But there's a lot that you could share with most of our members.
From this chat, Nicholas, I'm very confident that the BMF is under very good stewardship for the next few years. That's Nicholas Darius Maweni. Thanks so much for your time this morning. He's the new MD of the BMF.